We're standing right now, right outside the Loftus Versfeld Stadium in Pretoria. But guess what? We don't have any tickets, so we can't go inside and watch the match. But so what? We can still sample some of the traditional South African flavor right here on the streets, right outside the stadium. So what are we waiting for? Let's go.
We've got chicken with salad. You see? Delicious. And that's a South African dish.
Wow, is that appetizing or what? Who says not being able to get tickets is a bummer? Look how satisfied I look as I take in the African delights on offer over here. Okay. What is this? For Worslow. Worslow. Okay, I can't get this, but it looks and must be tasting very delicious as well. How much is one for?
One is 20 rands.
20 rands. That's not expensive at all.
Yeah, not expensive.
Make one for me.
Put this and this for yourself.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Thank you.
Forget the sauce. I just wanted to dig into that delicious, I still can't pronounce the name. Well, hot dog will do. All right, let's find out just how tasty this is. This sausage is good. Very good. Must try this when you come here. From beef strips to pork sausages, from mutton to lamb, this stretch of the road outside the Loftus Versfeld turned out to be a non-vegetarian's delight. Was there a match on at the same time? I can't really remember. Well, you know what? My nose right now is an absolute seventh heaven because it's taken in so many of these absolutely delicious aromas of this beef and the pork and the lamb which is being sold here. But if you're a vegetarian, what do you do then? Well, you can always come down here still and get your favorite team's flag painted on your cheek like I'm getting it done right now. In Pretoria with Jaideep Bhandarkar, Akash Dasgupta for NDTV.
One goal has taken another step towards the dream of education for all children. Football legends like Cameroon's Roger Milla, Holland's Ronald de Boer and Bora Milutinovic, who've coached 5 different teams at the World Cup together, have come together to launch the Education at Your Feet program. A joint collaboration between One Goal and Qatar FA, the program is looking to deliver football coaching and education for 2 weeks at the Wanderers Sports Club. More than 1,000 kids between the ages of 8 and 12 are part of this. They're being taught the importance of education. And these legends of the game are more than happy to spare time to further the cause of education for all.
To make people aware of the youth problem that we face, and a lot of kids don't have proper education. And I think everybody deserves to have a proper education, to be ready for, as a young boy or a young girl, to be in this difficult world, to be ready to know what lies ahead of you. And I think as a kid, you need those basic steps.
The best thing about their life, so many things, but the best thing to educate the children, what is the life, what they need to do in their life to be good people.
For the kids, it's an exercise in realizing that education plays a big role in making your dreams come true, especially when they're dreams as big as these.
My dream is to play professionally for Liverpool and South Africa, and I wish to educate all these underprivileged children and make South Africa a better place.
I'd like to play one day for my country.
Nearly 72 million kids around the world don't go to school. Footballing legends are coming forward through the One Goal initiative, but big names from every field really need to come forward to pick up this initiative to make the future of those kids a brighter one. In Johannesburg with Jaideep Bhandarkar, Akash Dasgupta for NDTV. If you are an Indian, you couldn't have missed the Mahindra Satyam signage during the football. The Hyderabad-based company is assured a minimum of 9 minutes of airtime in every match as the only Indian sponsor of the 2010 FIFA World Cup. The International Broadcasting Centre at Soccer City houses the production centres handling live broadcasts to 317 channels in 214 countries. It is also where all the IT workload is handled as part of the 90 crore rupee deal with FIFA. And boy, is it a huge load. Mahindra's job is to make 3 million tickets available on the internet across all 64 matches. They arrange over 200,000 accreditations, manage all the official transport, and they handle the 80,000 strong volunteer program.
What makes me more proud is that this work started before the problems that we all know. And through those problems, the team here never flagged in their efforts, and I have it on record from the head of IT at FIFA that they never once, even during the biggest strain on the company, had cause or reason to complain about the kind of dedication and commitment. I think that's outstanding.
A team of 130, of which 120 are Indians, set up base in South Africa almost 2.5 years back to develop the IT applications for the World Cup. Last year's FIFA Confederations Cup in South Africa was also powered by Mahindra Satyam. Our visit to the International Broadcasting Centre here at Soccer City really showed us just how much of the IT workload Mahindra Satyam is managing here at the 2010 FIFA World Cup. A fact that really should make Indians all over the world very, very proud. In Johannesburg with Jaydeep Bhandarkar, Akash Dasgupta for NDTV.
Beer, the most popular alcoholic beverage in the world. From Europe to Asia, from Africa to Latin America, beer unites the world. Annually, the world consumes over 100 billion liters of beer.
So perfectly well received was this beer that it inspired brewmasters everywhere to emulate the style, giving birth to the many pilsners and lagers which remain universally popular to this day.
But what amazed us the most was the fact that beer has been a part of human civilization from the very beginning. The production and daily use of beer can actually be traced right back to the Mesopotamian age, more than 6,000 years ago. Beer was not just a beverage then, it was a trading commodity, an offering to the gods. In fact, the Egyptians even used beer to baptize their newborns. Of course, because their beer was unfiltered, they drank it with straws. Just like human civilization, beer has undergone a gigantic process of evolution. But in certain parts of the world, like in the interiors of tribal Africa, beer making is still a specialized art. The secrets of making a good brew is passed down from mother to daughter, as beer making is predominantly a woman's duty here. A woman who makes the best brew will invite the maximum suitors. I wasn't here to present a suit, but still decided to taste some of the local African brew. In true African style, it's one hell of a thirst quencher. In South Africa, the journey of beer is intertwined with race. Blacks were not allowed to drink or sell beer once the Europeans brought in beer to the continent. Then in 1962, a landmark judgment was passed which allowed all non-whites to order and drink beer.
Tracing the evolution of beer, we've travelled back in time, and right now we are in the 19th century. And guess what? I just don't feel like going back. In Johannesburg with Jaydeep Bhandarkar, Akash Dasgupta for NDTV. Cheers. With the World Cup on, small stalls like this one selling quintessential African handwork have mushroomed all over South Africa. So let's go and find out what they're selling.
From paintings to jewellery, from candlesticks to masks, African handicrafts are colourful, vibrant and very, very intricate. While Ethiopia, Kenya and Nigeria are known for their leatherwork, Nigeria, Sierra Leone and Egypt specialize in ceramics. And you can find it all right here in South Africa.
We have beaded work that is done by Zulu women in KwaZulu-Natal. They do it in the villages and then they bring them down here. And that's how they sustain their little villages in KwaZulu-Natal especially.
The global crafts industry is estimated to be worth $35 billion. South Africa takes about 1% of that pie. It's clearly an important industry, providing employment to 1.2 million people and contributing 3 billion rand to the country's GDP annually.
There are lots of things you can take back home with you if you want to take back a little bit of the World Cup. Miniature trophies, zakumis and so on and so forth. But if you want to take back a little bit of Africa with you, then you have to buy a memento from a shop like this. My favorite, this little pipe over here. Since I'm a smoking man, it'll hold me in good stead. In Johannesburg, with Jaydeep Bhandarkar, Akash Dasgupta for NDTV.
Think of Brazil and you think of a footballing powerhouse. From the team of the 50s to the one that humbled Ivory Coast on Sunday, this is a country that's synonymous with football.
It's 3! It was delightful!
Which is why the Casa Brazil or Brazil House in Johannesburg forgets modesty when it comes to showcasing Brazilian football. It's literally got it all. From team photographs to old footage of Brazil's triumphs at the World Cup to even replicas to the 5 world trophies it has won. Then there are the shirts won by Brazilian heroes like Carlos Alberto Torres in 1970 to Ronaldo in 2002, and the centerpiece of the exhibition, the Jules Rimet Trophy.
It's an absolutely incredible feeling, really, standing this close to the prestigious Jules Rimet Trophy, which Brazil were given possession of when they became the first team to win the World Cup thrice in 1970. But then if there's anything that this visit to the Brazil house here in Johannesburg has taught us, it is that Brazil is not just about football.
Brazilian football doesn't need any promotion, which is why the country's tourism board is going all out to promote Brazil's other attractions. The beauty of its beaches, forests and festivals are all captured in a breathtaking audiovisual display. After all, with the next edition of the World Cup to be held in Brazil, the country is expecting the number of foreign tourists to go up from 5 to 8 million by 2014.
With the 2014 FIFA World Cup and the 2016 Olympics slotted to be held in Brazil, the Casa Brazil succeeds magnificently in promoting the country as the complete package. After all, the bottom line of this initiative is Mi Casa, Su Casa. In Johannesburg with Jaideep Bhandarkar, Akash Dasgupta for NDTV. Wondering how to bend it like Beckham or perhaps Honda or Diego Forlan? If you're still wondering, then you need a science lesson. And here's where you can get it, the Sai Bono Center in Johannesburg.
We've had more people coming in the last month or two than we've had in the previous year or two. And it's stunning. It's taken us a bit by surprise.
So it's all about the physics of the beautiful game here. The impact of gravity on ball control, or what speed and angle a ball must be hit to take it over a wall of defenders. This place has it all.
We have some fun, we're playing games, you know. That's why I like to come here. When you don't know what to play at home, you can come here.
I like it because it teaches me science.
This place is so much fun that even I had to try my luck at virtual football, though I admit that I need to beat people who are more my size. Well, we all know that football, of course, is the most popular sport in the world, but our visit here to the Sai Bono Center taught us just how fascinating the can be when the game is used in the learning process of subjects like science and maths. No wonder then that their tagline reads, "Play science, learn soccer." In Johannesburg with Jaideep Bhandarkar, Akash Dasgupta for NDTV. Now today we've got a very, very special treat lined up just for you watching back at home over there. This is going to be a special tour through the limited access Jobulani Central right here in Johannesburg. This is actually an exhibition by Adidas, one of the official sponsors of the 2010 FIFA World Cup. And what they've done is lined up a number of mannequins over here and put on the official jerseys of the 12 teams that they sponsor in the World Cup. From Denmark to Argentina, from Spain to host South Africa, all the jerseys have been put up for exhibition right here at this Jobulani Central. The jerseys sure are attractive enough, all right, but the real treasure chest at this Jobulani Central right here in Johannesburg is the one I'm standing right next to. This is the place which houses the actual FIFA official individual trophies which will be given out at the end of the FIFA World Cup. From the golden, silver and bronze balls, to the golden, silver and bronze boots, to the golden glove, which of course goes to the best goalkeeper of the tournament. All of it is right here. Why not the official FIFA World Cup trophy, you might ask? Can we get our hands on that? Well, we'll see what we can do about that. In Johannesburg at the Jobulani Central with Jaideep Bhandarkar, Akash Dasgupta for NDTV. So there I was with some time on my hands in between games and decided to check out the one thing I was determined to buy in South Africa. My favorite team, Brazil's shirt, which took me to this mall in Johannesburg. What I stumbled upon was a small part of the garment industry that's doing booming business thanks to the World Cup. Team jerseys all over the world are of course selling like hotcakes, but the demand is the most here in South Africa.
We've got Portugal selling the most, the Brazilian team is selling the most, South African one is selling a lot. And then we've got the Netherlands one, it's selling, and then the England team.
Sports merchandise is one of the most lucrative facets of modern day sport. Fans dressed from head to toe in their favorite team's colors is a common sight. No football kit really is complete without the jerseys. And with big names like Nike, Adidas and Puma involved, the official team jerseys don't come cheap. The shirts range from anywhere between 200 to 500 rand here in South Africa, or about 1200 to 3000 rupees in India. The companies are literally laughing all the way to the bank. Adidas India, for example, expects a 400% increase in Adidas's World Cup merchandise sales compared to the 2006 World Cup. And the increasing demand for merchandise is a worldwide phenomenon.
During this World Cup, we've got a lot of people coming, the tourists, people from other countries, they're looking for their jerseys. Yeah, we've got a lot of demand in the...
So which jerseys sell the most? For the locals here, the Bafana shirt, of course, is a must-have. But with thousands of fans travelling to South Africa from all over the world, the demand is not restricted to only the host team jerseys.
I'm just looking and then for a Brazil jersey because so far I'm a supporter of Brazil for my second team, do you understand? So my first team is Bafana.
Well, I've got myself my Brazil shirt, as you can see over here. But if you're planning to come down here to South Africa for the FIFA World Cup and want to buy the jersey of your favorite team, you should be willing to shell out quite an amount of money because these official jerseys ain't cheap. But one thing you can be sure of is that no matter where you go and whichever team's jersey you want to buy, the supply is absolutely limitless. In Johannesburg with Jaideep Bhandarkar, Akash Dasgupta for NDTV.
From Messi to Kaká, from Gerrard to Pinar, you can find them all here. These lifelike portraits adorn many an exhibition wall in Johannesburg. A great chance for visitors to take back the stars captured in their cameras. And it's all thanks to these artists who specialize in portraits. A group of about 10 painters hired to bring the best footballers of the world via paint.
I've done 32 painting portraits. My favorite is the Link, the South African player, Steve Pienaar.
Hundreds of such small-time artists have been brought in from far-flung areas to paint South Africa in World Cup colours. It's the opportunity of a lifetime to earn some good money while living their dream.
It's for the first time the football may be played in South Africa or in Africa. Yeah, that's why I'm here doing some paintings. Just because I'm happy and I'm excited.
Now, if you thought the FIFA World Cup was just about the players, the action on the pitch and the goals scored, well, think again. It's also about employment for a number of people like these artists from Burundi who've been called in here especially to paint lifelike portraits of footballers and the stars from the world across. And these guys are saying, hey, we're just living our passion. And with the Football World Cup on, this is, of course, the best platform ever. In Johannesburg with Jaideep Bhandarkar, Akash Dasgupta for NDTV. If you really want to live the stadium experience but don't have the tickets to go inside the stadium, does that mean your dream is shattered? Not really. What do? You head for the next door open air tavern like this one. So what's cooking inside? Let's go and find out. Welcome to Eastwoods, a tavern located right next to the Loftus Versfeld Stadium in Pretoria that's almost always buzzing with activity. We caught it at its colourful best on the day of a South Africa game. The FIFA World Cup has done what cricket and rugby World Cups, an IPL and a Champions Trophy couldn't do to South Africa.
Yeah, it's awesome for us. We're on the doorstep of Loftus. So having a big sporting event like this is really great for the business. We've been here for 14 years. But this is definitely our biggest year. You know, I mean, you can look at it now, it's a game day, it's a massive game at Loftus. Its kickoff is 8 o'clock, it's now only 4 o'clock and there's almost over 1,000 people in here already. So it's massive for us.
Alright. Is that too strong?
No.
So could I resist the temptation of joining the party? Not really. I love my Eagle Bomber, but what really took me by surprise was the sale of beer. It's literally non-stop. According to South African breweries, one of the world's largest beer manufacturers, South Africans alone drink almost 60 litres of beer per person every year.
I sell about, I'll go for about 500 litres of beer a day, in 5 hours time, yes.
I can tell you the excitement here and the atmosphere is just so electric, I can't even tell I'm actually outside the stadium. It's a win-win situation for everybody really. The establishment is happy because business is going through the roof and the fans are happy because they get to catch the action on a large screen with a lager in their hand.
In Pretoria with Jaydeep Bhandarkar, Akash Das Gupta for NDTV.
South Africa is a country of many races. There is room for all the various races in this country.
The Apartheid Museum in Johannesburg chronicles every stage of Mandela's life in minute detail. From his village days to when he joined the African National Congress in 1948. Did you know that Mandela was an avid boxer in his university days? But his real bout was against the oppression that the white government of South Africa was blatantly practicing. On the 5th of August 1962, after being on the run for almost 17 months, Mandela was captured, thanks largely to a CIA tip-off. What followed was a 27-year-long stay behind bars, but Mandela's reputation as the most significant black leader grew.
What I know of Nelson Mandela is basically since he was freed. What I learned today is that he was very active from years and years ago, and that he's really a very, very smart person. He's not just someone who stepped into the limelight.
Mandela was finally a free man on the 11th of February 1990, when President F.W. de Klerk reversed the ban on the ANC. His release from prison was broadcast live all over the world.
I didn't thought that he was in prison so many years. I see 27 years, so I thought it was less than that, but it's pretty good that when he came out of prison, all the world was with him.
Mandela was given the Nobel Peace Prize in 1993. In fact, he has received over 250 awards in all. In 1994, Mandela was elected as the country's first black president after the ANC swept the polls with 62% of the votes. But if there was one moment that made Mandela not just the president of the blacks, but of all South Africa, it was when he showed up at the 1995 Rugby World Cup final between South Africa and New Zealand wearing a number 6 shirt. Rugby was a white-dominated sport, and the number 6 belonged to the Springboks captain, Francois Pienaar. Now at 92 and in frail health, Mandela made yet another appearance at the closing ceremony of the 2010 Football World Cup, an enduring image given that this was Africa's first World Cup.
One of the biggest inspirations for Nelson Mandela in his early years was Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. And just like Bapu delivered us Indians from British Raj, South Africans all over, white and black alike, look upon Madiba as the man who played the biggest role in delivering South Africa from evil. In Johannesburg with Jaydeep Bhandarkar, Akash Das Gupta for NDTV.
Now, if you thought that all the brick bats were reserved only for the Jabulani ball, well then you need to think again. Because I have with me here all the match balls that were used in each and every Football World Cup thus far, starting from 1930. But we'll take a closer look at the match balls used for the last 3 World Cups, including this one. We'll start with Fever Nova. Now, this was used in 2002, the World Cup that we saw in South Korea and Japan. And Buffon, the Italian goalkeeper, called this ball a kiddie's ball because he said it bounced like a plastic ball. Rivaldo, the famous Brazilian forward, said that this ball swerved a lot in the air and was not fit to be a match ball. After the Fever Nova, let's now take a look at this ball. Team Geest was the name of this ball, used in the 2006 World Cup in Germany, and this received a lot of criticism too, none other than from the German goalkeeper himself, Jens Lehmann, who said that this was a very, very slippery ball and shouldn't be used in any of the World Cup matches. Now we come on to the Jabulani ball. This, of course, is making news, of course, again for the wrong reasons, and we all know what is being said about this match ball.
The ball is FIFA approved, which means that with regards to circumference, with regards to the way it bounced, with regards to the water uptaking or the weight of the ball, it is completely according to FIFA guidelines. And actually we're quite happy because everybody seems to be buying the ball. So from that point of view, we're very excited.
We've decided to put the ball on test. Now this, of course, is Vusi Musi, and he plays for the South African 23 side. He also plays second division football here. So we decided to test the ball with him. So how do you think, Vusi, this ball is?
The ball is great. The line is fantastic. You can just get time to play with the ball, get used to the ball. There's nothing wrong with the ball.
Okay, so that's the key. You need to play with it and get used to it. But let me also give you another tip. If you look very carefully at all the criticism, you'll realize that most of the criticism coming Jabulani's way is by players signed on by a rival brand. This, of course, is the official ball made by Adidas. So that might be the answer to all the problems. In Johannesburg with Jaideep Bhandarkar, Nikhil Nas for NDTV.
Things to come in mind is cricket, Bollywood and spicy food. But the world's largest democracy is hoping to add a winning football team to its repertoire. In spite of the fact that India is not playing in this year's FIFA World Cup, many of the broadcasters have sent large media teams to cover the event. One of the teams based in Johannesburg is New Delhi TV, or more popularly known as NDTV. Their journalist Phil Naus has been in the country for the past 2 weeks, providing the TV audiences with regular updates from South Africa, and he now joins us in the studio. Good afternoon to you and welcome.
Thanks so much, and thanks for introducing. So it wasn't my in-depth knowledge of football that landed me here. I was featured as a guest at SABC, South Africa's equivalent of BBC, only because I was the odd one out.
Just before the World Cup started, members of parliament and media personalities, even heads of media, were going to the media centers to have a look at, the broadcast facilities. And when everybody came back, they said, "Do you know how many Indian journalists are in South Africa?" And we were like, "But India doesn't have a team in the World Cup." But they have among the biggest contingent.
Hey, but we do have a football team, and I did my best to bring these guys up to speed.
So there is a national team that's in place.
That's right. We have a national team which won a tournament recently that was held in India, and on the basis of that they qualified for the Asia Cup. Like I said, it's the equivalent of the African Cup of Nations, and it's after 24 years that India has managed to qualify.
Now, Asia Cup, what's next? The 2014 World Cup?
Okay, laugh at us. Maybe we won't make it in 2014, but we are getting there. And for the last word, I did remind our host that we are the #1 team in cricket in Test, having displaced who else but our hosts here. In Johannesburg with Jaideep Bhandarkar, Nikhil Nas for NDTV. Lalit Modi was in South Africa, Shah Rukh Khan was there too. For the IPL? No. For the Football World Cup? It's an expensive trip, but many other Indians like Bobby, a marketing professional from New Delhi, have also made the journey. This 36-year-old engineering professional from Baroda is in fact making a third consecutive World Cup trip.
As far as football is concerned, as far as I'm concerned, as long as I live, I'll make sure each and every World Cup I go and watch it.
Gopal Arjun, a chartered accountant from New Delhi, is one of those making a first trip.
I couldn't afford it earlier. I can afford it now.
Corporate India has taken this as an opportunity to enjoy the game and indulge in some networking.
We have considerable business in South Africa, and this is a sort of a soccer frenzy here. So we thought it's very good to have business with little player, but it's becoming more of player after seeing this soccer.
Last year, more than 60,000 people from India travelled to South Africa. Recent years have seen a huge increase in visitors thanks to the number of sporting events hosted by South Africa. It all began with the 2003 Cricket World Cup when India made the finals and the number of tourist arrivals jumped up by 20%.
Of course, our bumper year was the IPL, where we had a 70% growth only in the month of May when IPL was being played in South Africa. We are seeing a growth during FIFA. Of course, it's not as high as IPL, but definitely it's much more, and it's also helping us put South Africa on the tourist map.
A big Indian presence at the 2010 FIFA World Cup, first an Indian sponsor, then Indian volunteers, and now Indian fans too. Of course, the big thing that's still missing is our very own national team, but that of course still looks like a distant dream. In Johannesburg with Jaideep Bhandarkar, Nikhil Nas for NDTV. '60-years-old Om Prakash is a very committed football fan, which is why he's one of the few Indians who is a volunteer at the World Cup.
They selected me for language support in the international volunteer, that I can speak Ektu Bangla also. So they gave me Bengali. I say I can learn, speak, then Marathi, then Gujarati, Marwari, Oriya, bit of Assamese also.
Well, that talent has been put to good use. Om Prakash and his wife Prem have travelled the world together, witnessing some of the biggest sporting events in the world. The 1999 Cricket World Cup in England, the 2006 FIFA World Cup in Germany, and the 2010 Vancouver Winter Olympics.
He booked for me also. I followed him everywhere. He never went alone.
In the last 28 years, the couple has been to as many as 16 global